All right, That's Something Live is happening right now in D.C. That's President Donald Trump. He is having a cabinet meeting at the White House. So this comes after, make sure I get the right information. This comes after President Trump, and I'm reading this from AP News' website. Trump sparked hysteria in the international markets by announcing, or this spring, by announcing tariff rates on dozens of countries before unveiling a 90-day negotiating period. That period was set to begin Wednesday, but the president signed an executive order yesterday to delay the official tariff increase until August 1st. So that was the big news yesterday coming out of the administration. Let's take a listen into what President Trump is saying now.
That's a tough one to take. But his career is limited because I hear AOC is going to beat him, and she's no bargain either, by the way. Go ahead.
Well, I would just say that's an example of an America First team effort to get this country back. So that's what America First looks like for the viewers watching us at home. My two questions. Looks like we have a rogue judge, an Obama-backed rogue judge that is attempting to block the funding to Planned Parenthood, which the big, beautiful bill cuts off the funding to Planned Parenthood. Any plans to challenge that?
Absolutely. Yes, we're on it. We're on it. And I texted, I believe, I talked to yesterday Secretary Lutnick and Secretary Besson. I reached out to you to let you know that we were on it in the big, beautiful bill.
Wonderful. And then
I let her handle that question. You notice? I said, go ahead, handle that question.
Toss it to her. Then my second question was Secretary Rollins. You did an amazing press conference today in front of the Department of Agriculture. You talked about the Farm Act and the need to get China out of our country, owning farmland. For the viewers at home that might have missed that, can you recap what that means to national security to make sure we can grow our own food?
Well, thank you, Brian. Sir, if you don't mind. Yes, this morning Secretary Hegseth, Secretary Noem, and Attorney General Bondi and I had a press conference at the USDA. I just happened to have a chart in case it came up, but obviously the Chinese owning of farmland in our country is a massive national security issue. And for the media, you can see the yellow is where all of the farms have been purchased over the last number of years, and the red is around all of the military bases where that farmland has been purchased. So this is a massive national security issue. The press conference this morning included 3 of our greatest governors as well, Sarah Sanders from Arkansas, Jim Pillen from Nebraska, and Bill Lee from Tennessee. The states have begun taking a leadership role to ban the purchasing of China farmland. Obviously, Congress needs to step up and catch up, and we're going to be working alongside of them as well. We have some of our members, great members of Congress there, but it is time, and I think that this morning was symbolic of many things. The first of this administration working every day to effectuate President Trump's leadership and unequivocal support of America First. But second, just how close we are as a cabinet. I don't know in any other administration that you'd have 4 cabinet members at the USDA on a Tuesday morning when it's about 110 degrees outside with the sun beating down on us talking about Sir, you're efficient. So I think it was a great day. It was just the start. There's an executive order coming and some other things coming behind that. But protecting America's farms isn't just about protecting our farmers. It's also about national security. So that's what we discussed this morning.
I think we have had a really good relationship with China lately, and we're getting along with them very well. They've been very fair on our trade deal, honestly, and I hope we're going to have a great relationship. It's a big, strong, powerful country. We're more powerful than they are. We have much better military equipment than they do, but we are getting along with them very well. I'm getting along with President Xi very well. We speak often. And with all of that being said, and I understand what you're saying, but I think we're getting along with China very well.
Mr. President, more weapons to Ukraine, as you said last night. Last week, the Pentagon paused some shipments of weapons to Ukraine. Did you approve of that pause?
We want to put defensive. Putin is not treating human beings right. He's killing too many people. So we're sending some defensive weapons to Ukraine, and I've approved that.
So who ordered the pause last week?
I don't know. Why don't you tell me?
I think that's a question for the panel.
Go ahead.
Mr.
Yeah.
President, on immigration, the Secretary of the Agriculture did say this morning that undocumented workers would not be covered by any amnesty of who are working on farms. You had said maybe that the ISA folks won't go after those folks on farms. So which is it?
There's no amnesty. What we're doing is we're getting rid of criminals, but we are doing a work program. Do you want to explain that, please?
Yeah, this morning we talked about, of course, this was a top of mind question. This morning we talked about protecting the farmers and the farmland, but obviously this president's vision of no amnesty, mass deportation continues, but in a strategic way, and then ensuring that our farmers have the labor that they need. Secretary Chavez-DeRimmer has been a leader on this. Obviously this comes out of the Labor Department, but moving toward automation, ensuring that our farmers have that workforce, and moving toward an American workforce. So all of the
We've got
above.
to give the farmers the people they need, but we're not talking amnesty. Lori, do you want to say something about
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. On this, thank you, Secretary Rollins, how important this is never to displace the American worker. What the Department of Labor is doing is focusing on what the law entails now, being more modernized, more streamlining, to work through the H programs. We're going to have a concierge approach to that, where we have developed a new office to answer the need of our farmers and ranchers and producers, and not to displace the American worker, and follow within the law now, and that does not include an amnesty program at all. And that working, and we'll continue to have that roll out. On the other topics that we've somewhat talked about, the jobs numbers, Mr. President, 4 months in a row we've seen those jobs numbers increase. That's an exciting time for our manufacturers. That was asked earlier. We know it's going to take some time, but through that deregulation process that Lee and I are working on as well, the Department of Labor has rolled out 63 new deregulations that we're going to be moving through. In the first Trump administration, it was successful with over 30. We've just rolled out 63 new ones in order to double down on those manufacturing companies, to let them know that we have signaled through this process that we will assist them in getting the workforce that they need. It's an exciting time. That one big beautiful bill, that was the signal to my former colleagues in Congress to get this done. It's been an important time. I spent time on the ground visiting 7 states in 9 days prior to that bill being passed, because it was the most pro-worker piece of legislation that we will ever see really in this country right now. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. That matters to the American worker, because we don't want to take their money and give it back. We want them to keep more of their hard-earned dollars in their pockets currently, and that's what they're excited about. And as I move forward with those tariff talks, I heard a company, orthopedic company in Indiana, say to me, for the first time since you have taken office, Mr. President, their increase in their bottom line by 8% since these tariff talks have happened. Not one company has said the president is not doing a good job. These tariff talks are working. They're feeling it on the ground. The media has told a false story, because what's happening on the ground is positive, and that's what we're seeing in these jobs numbers. So I really, through the Department of Labor, to come in behind all the secretaries and build this workforce is going to be key to the American worker. So thank you for what everybody did this last week. The one big beautiful bill is a doubling down of this, and we're going to see these workers start to grow. And that apprenticeship program is going to be working. We'll have that 1 million apprentices across the country.
As you know, we're building plants all over the country now, which you weren't building any plants 4 years ago. You weren't building anything. But those plants, when they open up, it's going to be, you'll see numbers like you haven't seen ever. I don't think in history you'll never see numbers like in the very near future. Many of them are building the plants. Some are just starting right now. You know, it's a brand new administration. But, and they wouldn't be here except for 2 things. November 5th, the election, and the tariffs. And frankly, I guess the election was more important because of the tariffs. I mean, another person wouldn't have done this. But they're coming in because of the tariffs. They have to, they're not going to pay 25, 30, 40, 50%, 70 and 100%. And we'll be announcing something very soon on pharmaceuticals. We're going to give people about a year and a half to come in, and after that they're going to be tariffed if they have to bring the pharmaceuticals into the country, the drugs and other things into the country. They're going to be tariffed at a very, very high rate, like 200%. We'll give them a certain period of time to get their act together. But they were all here, now they all left. They went to other places because we allowed, people that sat in this room allowed it to happen. And I don't allow it to happen. The people in this room don't allow it to happen. So we're going to be announcing pharmaceuticals, chips, and various couple of other things, big ones. We did steel, as you know, they're 50%. We did aluminum, 50%. Lumber just came out.
And that's copper.
And we did cars. And now, today we're doing copper.
What would that tariff be on? The section tariff?
I believe the tariff on copper, we're going to make it 50%.
50%.
Any breakthroughs?
I'm glad he didn't question it. I sort of thought, what would that be? A quick one. I didn't have much time, but he agreed with me. That's why he's Howard.
Any breakthroughs on Gaza with the Prime Minister, and there's reports that you're meeting with Netanyahu again tonight. Is that accurate?
Yeah, he's going to come on. We're talking about Gaza, mostly Gaza right now. It's he's been very unfairly treated. I think what they've done to him in Israel is very unfair, having to do with this trial. I think, he's a wartime prime minister, had an unbelievable outcome. And I think he's been treated very unfairly, but he's coming over later. We're going to be talking about, I would say, almost exclusively Gaza. We got to get that solved. Gaza is it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. And he wants to get it solved, and I want to get it solved. And I think the other side wants to get it solved. Steve, could you talk on that, please?
We're in proximity talks now. And we had 4 issues, and now we're down to 1 after 2 days of proximity talks. So we are hopeful that by the end of this week, we will have an agreement that will bring us into a 60-day ceasefire. 10 live hostages will be released. 9 deceased will be released. We're meeting at the President's direction with all the hostage families to let them know. And we think that this will lead to a lasting peace in Gaza.
And you're doing a good job. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. A lot of hate, It's called long-term hate. But we think we're going to have it solved pretty soon, hopefully with a real solution, a solution that's going to be holding up.
And can I follow up? This is, I think, the first cabinet meeting since Elon Musk has not been a special government employee, not here anymore. He's now saying he's going to create a third political party. Are you worried about the impact that could have?
No, I think it'll help us. It'll probably help. Third parties have always been good for me. I don't know about Republicans, but for me.
Are you second guessing any of the cuts that Doge made since you described him as off the rails?
Look, we cut hundreds of billions of dollars with Doge. We could have done it differently. I would have done it differently a little bit, maybe, but it was something that we saved a lot of money. You can always second guess. I guess some of the people in this room maybe would have done it slightly differently, and some would have done it exactly the way it was done. But it was dramatic, and it was important, and we found a lot of things like billions of dollars given to people for environmental protection, where they had $100 in the account, like in Atlanta, Stacy. And then you had another one with 20 billion here, and 20 billion here, and 2 billion here, and 15 billion. And Lee, you might want to mention just a couple of those things. We really got because of Doge.
At the Trump EPA, the One Big Beautiful Bill was filled with many big beautiful wins for the taxpayer. It delivered a sledgehammer to the Green New scam. Billions of dollars rescinded. So it's a big deal for the American taxpayer who sees money go through pass-throughs that are filled with self-dealing and conflicts of interest. They see unqualified recipients. They see reduced agency oversight, and they want.
You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. Right there, you're watching live as President Trump holds a cabinet meeting there at the White House. While this is happening, we are hearing from Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Capitol Hill. He met with House Speaker Mike Johnson. That is happening live. Both things are happening live at the same time.